Every army that tried to destroy Rome failed. Every king that challenged Rome lost. Every enemy that stood before Rome was crushed. For 1,000 years, Rome was undefeatable. And then, no army came, no king attacked, no enemy arrived. Rome simply collapsed from the inside by its own hands. Today, I will show you exactly how the greatest empire in human history destroyed itself. To understand how Rome fell, you must first understand how magnificent it was at its peak. By 117 AD, under Emperor Trajan, Rome controlled 5 million square kilometers, from Scotland in the north to the deserts of Egypt in the south, from Portugal in the west to modern-day Iraq in the east. 70 million people lived under Roman rule. One language, one law, one currency, one system. Rome built 80,000 kilometers of roads, so perfectly engineered that some still exist today. Aqueducts carried fresh water to cities across the empire. Public baths, libraries, and theaters existed in even small provincial towns. Roman engineers built the Pantheon, a concrete dome so perfect that architects still study it 2,000 years later. Rome was not just an empire. It was the greatest human achievement the ancient world had ever produced. So what went wrong? Everything. Slowly. All at once. Rome's first and deepest problem was political. The Roman Republic had survived for 500 years because power was shared and limited. But Julius Caesar broke that system. Augustus replaced it with one-man rule. And one-man rule created one catastrophic problem. How do you choose the next emperor? There was no clear system. No guaranteed succession. The result? Chaos. In the 3rd century AD alone, Rome had 26 different emperors in just 50 years. Most of them were assassinated by the very soldiers who were supposed to protect them. Think about what that means for running an empire. Every time a new emperor came to power, the laws changed, the priorities changed, the allies changed. Generals fought each other for the throne instead of fighting Rome's enemies. Tax collectors stole instead of collecting. Governors ruled like independent kings. The central government that had held 70 million people together was becoming a joke. And the people noticed. While the political system was crumbling, the economy was dying. Running the largest empire in history was extraordinarily expensive. Soldiers needed to be paid. Roads needed to be maintained. The borders needed to be defended. And the money was running out. Rome's solution was catastrophic in its simplicity. They debased the currency. In the early empire, Roman silver coins were 90% pure silver. By the 3rd century, they contained less than 5% silver. The rest was cheap metal. Every Roman citizen knew it. Every merchant knew it. The result was runaway inflation. Prices for basic goods like bread and olive oil increased 1,000% in some regions within decades. Farmers stopped selling crops for worthless coins, returning to barter. Trade collapsed. Tax revenue collapsed. The treasury emptied. And to make up for lost revenue, the government raised taxes, which destroyed the small farmers and merchants who were barely surviving, which reduced tax revenue further, which required more taxes. A death spiral with no exit. The greatest economy the ancient world had ever built was eating itself alive. In 285 AD, Emperor Diocletian made a decision that seemed logical at the time. The empire was simply too large for one man to govern, so he split it. Western Roman Empire, capital Rome. Eastern Roman Empire, capital eventually moved to a new city, Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. On paper, it made sense. In practice, it was the beginning of the end for the West. The Eastern Empire was wealthier, more urban, more connected to the great trade routes of Asia. The Western Empire was poorer, more rural, more exposed to the Germanic tribes pressing against its northern borders. As the decades passed, the two halves drifted further apart. Different languages, different cultures, different priorities. When the West needed help, the East was slow to respond. When barbarian pressure on the western borders became overwhelming, the East protected Constantinople and left Rome to face the storm alone. For centuries, Rome had held the barbarian tribes at bay. But now, with a weakened military, an empty treasury, and a divided empire, the borders cracked. The trigger came from the east, the Huns, a terrifying nomadic people from Central Asia, possibly the most feared warriors of the ancient world, swept westward across the steppes. They were so brutal that entire Germanic tribes, the Visigoths, Vandals, Ostrogoths, fled westward in panic, straight into Roman territory. Rome, desperate for soldiers, allowed hundreds of thousands of Visigoths to settle inside the empire. Then, Rome's officials cheated and mistreated them. The Visigoths rebelled. In 378 AD, at the Battle of Adrianople, the Visigoths destroyed a Roman army and killed the Emperor Valens. It was the worst Roman military defeat in centuries. The psychological impact was devastating. Rome's invincibility, the idea that had kept enemies fearful and allies loyal for 1,000 years, was shattered. And then, in 410 AD, the unthinkable happened. The Visigoth king Alaric led his army into the city of Rome itself. For 3 days, barbarians walked through Roman streets, looted Roman homes, burned Roman buildings. For the first time in 800 years, Rome had been sacked. The ancient world went into shock. Saint Jerome, one of the most famous Christian scholars of the era, wrote, "The city which had taken the whole world was itself taken." Rome was no longer invincible. It was dying. After 410, the Western Empire unraveled with terrifying speed. Emperor after emperor, weak, young, controlled by powerful generals. The Vandals swept through Spain and North Africa, cutting off Rome's grain supply. The Huns under Attila, the most feared man in the world, ravaged Gaul and Italy. Territory after territory fell away from Roman control. Britain, abandoned in 410. North Africa, lost to the Vandals by 429. Gaul and Spain, carved up by Germanic kingdoms. The Western Empire shrank and shrank and shrank until it was barely Italy itself. And then, on September 4th, 476 AD, a barbarian general named Odoacer walked up to the last Western Roman emperor, a 16-year-old boy named Romulus Augustulus, the same name as Rome's legendary founder, now carried by its last pathetic ruler, and simply removed him from power. No great battle, no heroic last stand, no dramatic final moment, just a quiet removal. A boy sent into exile, and 1,000 years of Roman power ended, not with a bang, but with barely a whisper. Historians have debated for centuries, why did Rome fall? Edward Gibbon wrote an entire 6-volume book trying to answer that question. And the honest answer is everything at once. Political instability, economic collapse, military weakness, moral decay, overextension, climate change, plague, barbarian pressure. No single cause. 1,000 small failures accumulating over centuries until the weight became unbearable. But here is what makes Rome's fall genuinely terrifying. Every single problem Rome faced exists in the modern world. Political systems that prioritize personal power over public good, economies built on debt and currency manipulation, military commitments that stretch resources to the breaking point, societies that mistake comfort for strength. Rome did not fall because it was weak. Rome fell because it forgot what made it strong. The discipline, the civic virtue, the shared identity, the belief that something mattered more than personal comfort. When those things died, everything else followed. Today, if you visit Rome, you can walk through the ruins of the Roman Forum. You can touch stones that Julius Caesar walked past, stand where senators plotted assassinations, see the arches built by emperors who believed their empire would last forever. And right next to those ruins, modern Rome lives, breathes, moves. A living city built on top of a dead empire. Rome never truly died. It became the foundation of everything that came after. Our laws, our languages, our architecture, our very idea of civilization. All of it built on Roman bones. The greatest empire in history destroyed itself, but what it built survived anyway. If this video gave you something, like it. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe for the complete history series. We are just getting started. And tell me in the comments, do you think modern civilization could fall the same way Rome did? I will see you in the next one.